Hello, everyone. Welcome into another edition of Say Hey Plays.
I love
My name is Jose Bouquett.
it.
Alongside me over there is Peter Loshak. Pete, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I love handicapping baseball and MLB. Every time I dig into it, I always have a lot of fun, but I always get hit once again by how tough the markets are, how many people are smart people are using advanced analytics to give themselves an edge. Not that I think that I can't beat the markets, but it's a challenge, a fun challenge, an exciting challenge.
Well, I'm excited that you're ready to embark on this
Yes.
challenge with me, Pete. I appreciate you joining me as always. We're going to talk about the NL East here. I chose the East because you always wear a Yankees hat. I already picked the Bobana with the AL East, and I know you're over there. You don't care about teams. You care about capping, and you're
Yeah.
around the Mets fans. You know what they're like. So I wanted to get your expert opinion on all this stuff, and I'm excited to talk to you, Pete. I'm excited to do all this.
Oh, I'm very excited as well. Very excited as well. But focus. The pressure's on. I can handle it. I can handle it.
Okay, let's start the pressure off light here because we're gonna start
Okay.
with the
Good.
Washington Nationals here. Washington Nationals 69 and a half. Their over under is right now to make the playoffs. Yes, plus 920. No, minus 2,000. 5,000 plus 5,000 for the division. 15-1 for the World Series. Fall from grace for this team. Obviously, I mean they were in the World Series champions just a couple years ago. They've got Juan Soto. And that's about it. They
Yeah.
got Juan Soto, and that's about it. You know, Nelson Cruz, obviously, an acquisition they just had. We'll see. They have Steven Strasburg on the IL. They want him to have 20 to 25 starts this year. That's what Davey Martinez has said, man's manager. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to be optimistic about Steven Strasburg, and I'm going to say that he does make those starts. But I'm going to go through some other, because they haven't lost anyone because there's no one on the team to really lose. They lose Ryan Zimmerman, the franchise first player drafted, gets his number retired, all that stuff. Wasn't really contributing, just a locker room guy, good vibes. They bring back a bunch of familiar faces. If you're a Nats fan, Tyler Clippard, closer for the Nats forever. Shout out to him. Sean Doolittle, closer for the World Series team. Anibal Sanchez comes back, or yeah, it's Anibal Sanchez, something else. Steve Cishek, little sidearm action there. Carl Edwards Jr. D. Strange Gordon, who's a little washed up, but we'll always put his names on this list. Like I said, Nelson Cruz is their big bat, their big acquisition, who, if we're going to be honest, might be traded by this end of this year. We'll see. And then Aaron Sanchez, who is a pitcher I like from the Blue Jays, but never could quite put it together. Pete, I'd like to start off with the over-under here. We'll ask you and get your thoughts on this national squad. I'm leaning towards the over here, actually, over 69.5. I think they will be a better squad. Pete, what do you think?
Well, first of all, oh, are you? Well, sorry. Do we have to start out? Did you hear an echo?
No, you're good. Keep going.
Okay. First of all, for this segment, I just took Pinnacle numbers. Pinnacle has 71.5. So go
Yeah,
ahead.
I was to say I've been realizing I got my numbers from FanDuel. Some of our numbers might be a little different.
Yeah.
But 71.5 is a large difference. I was talking to our good friend Jim the Bag about this stuff too. We'll have these differences, so make sure to shop around. But that's crazy, the difference right
Yeah.
there.
When it comes to futures, the market is notoriously, inefficient at any given point relative to other markets. So a lot of times, and this is a perfect example. I don't know what the lines are at FanDuel or other places right now, but definitely one or more win discrepancy in season win totals in baseball is to be expected. So I'm seeing 71.5. You like the over. I guess I can understand that. I would take the under if I had to. I'm looking at this. This looks like a throwaway year for the Nationals. Obviously, they have a major league lineup, so they're going to win some games. Are they going to win 72 or more? I think that's less than a 50% proposition. As you said, I think that there's going to be a lot of selling, in July. A lot of their top guys are going to be gone. Now, of course, they'll bring up youngsters who, and so they might have some good value as a big underdog. They might be one of those horrible teams that brings up a bunch of youngsters late especially in September, and is a massive underdog game in and game out late in the season with value. That wouldn't surprise me at all for Washington. But to start the year and the middle of the year, I would expect them to be a little bit overvalued. I'd expect them to be heading towards an under as far as their win total is concerned. There's huge upside for Gray, obviously, Josiah Gray. So I'll be monitoring him start in and start out. And if he starts to show that he's really living up to his potential, Washington could easily be a great bet, on their 5-inning lines when he starts getting an underdog line again. And as you said, Soto, we've seen this before, right? With the Angels and Trout, he's is he going to win the MVP? He's the overwhelming favorite to win the MVP in the National League, which is understandable in an absolute sense. I mean, if I were building a team based only on National League players, he would definitely be the first one that I would choose, but he's just got nothing around him. And so who knows how the season's going to shake out. He's not going to have anyone behind him, anyone in front of him. He could easily get walked, half of his at-bats. I don't know if I think that that's probably a bad bet with Soto at like plus 250 to win the MVP. If I could, I would probably bet the no on that, at like minus 320 or something like that. So, and their bullpen, uninspiring. I don't really like their bullpen either. So again, they are a major league team, so they're going to get their wins. They're not going to win 30 or 40 games, but are they a 50% proposition to win 72 or more? I don't think so. This is probably one of my favorite bets in the NL East, actually, in terms of win totals. I'd probably take a shot with the under, although, all, MLB futures odds are come with a grain of salt because injuries matter so much. Unexpected trades, unexpected, underperformance or overperformance of projections is par for the course. So, take it with a grain of salt. But as of right now, I would definitely be taking the under at 71.5 for the Nationals.
See, and the thing that scared me about this, you're not the first person to tell me this. I had a chat with our good friend Big Ragu.
Mm-hmm.
Big Ragu also, he said he likes the under for this national squad too. So I agree with you there. I mean, I'm not making this an official play. Honestly, I've probably been talked off of it a lot, but seems like the Nationals are going to struggle this year. I think they might try to put something together, and we'll see what they get from Steven Strasburg. But I trust you and Big Ragu. So
I mean, look, they got some nice young talent, but every MLB team has nice young talent, and maybe if all their nice young talent comes together and rises, sure, they'll win more than 72 games. And Soto is, legit by far the best player in the National League, in my opinion. So that's something. It's just adding it all together. It's just, I don't know. How are they going to win? How are they going to beat other major league teams 72 or more times? Maybe they will. My bet would be that they don't.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's move on to.
Oh, sorry. The one thing I did want to say, though.
Oh, go ahead, please.
My big joke of the segment was I was going to make a big joke. One man, one bet. Patrick Corbin to win the Cy Young at what are the pinnacle odds here? Let me see. Pat Corbin, pinnacle odds to win the Cy Young, 46-1.
Sure.
If I could bet the no on that at like 1-55, I would do that. I don't know what the fair odds for Pat Corbin to win the Cy Young are, but I don't think they're 46-1. I think they're more like maybe 1,200-1 or something like that. He looks like a guy who is, unless he makes some sort of, mechanical / PED adjustment to his life and his pitching, he's an auto fade until further notice.
Okay. Good to know. I'm not a Pat Corbin guy, but I'm glad you are. Let's go.
It was a joke. 46-1 to win the Cy Young. If I could bet the no at 1-55.
Oh, yeah, I think you bet it.
What?
I'm going to put some shekels on it for you, Pete.
1-55 on credit. I would definitely hit that for sure.
No, there we go. That's how you get your bookies, guys. That's take notes, everyone. The Peter Loshak method. Marlins are up next. The Miami Marlins, 76.5. An interesting squad. They lose. I guess their biggest subtraction is losing Derek Jeter. He walks. My assumption is that the Marlins didn't want to pay big bucks to free agents acquisitions, and at some point Derek Jeter was like, this isn't worth it. So they lose Jeter. Along with losing Jeter, they lose on Lewis Brinson and Jorge Alfaro. They trade him, but they pick up Joey Wendell, a good utility bat from the Rays. He was perfectly fine. They made all those playoff runs. Jacob Stallings, one of the best defensive catchers in the league, actually didn't allow a pass ball last year, I believe. Well, so that's a crazy stat just in general. They signed the World Series MVP Jorge Soler, who was probably supposed to be Nick Castellanos. I'm not a big Jorge Soler guy. Negative WAR last year, but I'm glad he put it together in the World Series. Delano De Shields, and then my personal favorite, Williams Astudillo, my Venezuelan king. Right now, the Marlins sit at plus 225 to make the playoffs, minus 290 for the no, plus 2,000 for the division, and plus 7,000 for the World Series. Like I said, I'm getting my odds from FanDuel. So, Pete, I'd like to pass the baton to you here. I'm leaning to the under 76.5. I kind of think I think this is what I was thinking, and you might be on the big Ragoot team here. I think that the Nationals and the Marlins are going to switch positions here. I think they're going to do a little flippy flop. I think the Marlins will fall behind the Nationals. I understand they have great pitching, but the hitting just can't keep it together, and they also have to stay healthy. The Nationals finish above them, so I'm going under 76.5. Not an official play, but I do like it here. I want to see the Marlins going in the right direction, but Derek Jeter leaving just gives me a stink on the team. It's just a sign. Peter, what's up? What do you think?
Yeah, all this is just with a grain of salt. Again, I don't bet MLB futures for all the reasons that I talked about earlier. There's so much randomness that winds up mattering, injuries, so many things. But I'm pretty high on this Marlins team relative to their current market valuation. I'm not saying that I think they're going to win over 76 and a half games, but I suspect that they'll be a little bit undervalued, although everyone, with all the analytics nowadays, everyone knows exactly how good these teams are. But, they've got a lot of excellent young starting arms, including, guys in the minors, like that guy, what's his name? The Max, what's his level? Max Meyer, right. Max Meyer had an excellent spring. He'll be another big arm. Alcantara is for real. Sixto, if he gets, he should be healthy, and if he's healthy, he's got huge upside. Sixto Sanchez, yes. Luzardo, he has command issues, as a lot of guys with his kind of stuff have, but he's got a reliable upper 90s fastball. Rogers, obviously excellent with major league success, so they got a lot of young, healthy arms with high upside. Again, anything can happen. Yeah, maybe they'll all get injured, but they're a hell of a lot less likely to get injured than what the Mets have. Right? We'll talk about that in a little bit. Yep. But in general, I'm pretty high on the Marlins. I'm pretty high on their system, on their GM. Their bullpen looks okay to me. It's nothing special, but Dylan Floro looks like he'll be all right. Yeah, I think. Their offense is not their strength, but again, their home ballpark is one that where opposing teams' offenses come to die. So a lot of times they win these like low-scoring games at home with their strong pitching, and then they go on the road and do whatever they can. Again, their win total is less than 81, so they're expected by the markets to be a below average MLB team this year, and I just think that that's maybe a little bit disrespectful in light of how strong and deep and young their starting pitching is right now. Yeah, their lineup is questionable, but Jazz Chisholm, I read a report where he watched every single. He's coming off a disappointing year. Apparently, he says he watched every single at bat that he had last year. I don't know if he's BSing us, but if he did that, I'm not saying he's going to come back with a big, bounce back year, but that's a really good sign. You know what I'm saying? Jose Bouquett. So in general, I'm pretty high on the Marlins. I'm expecting them to be somewhat reliably undervalued at home this year. Again, I'll monitor how each starting pitcher is going, how their health is, how their velocity is, and all that. But they got a lot of excellent young starting arms, an offense that I think will be okay. A bullpen that I think will be okay. Maybe not to put them in the upper tier of teams, but enough to give them value, at least when they're at home, and probably more likely than not to get over 76.5. That's just my take on it as we sit here right now in early April.
And I like your park factor mention. Now, they're technically third lowest. There's a couple team ties for worst and second worst, but it's only behind Busch Stadium, Oakland Coliseum, the Seattle Mariners Stadium, Tropicana, Oracle, Petco. Those are the only places that have a lower park factor than Low Depot Park, where the Marlins play. So I agree with you. It does always, last year especially. It always seemed like under, and with a pitching staff like that and hitting, hey, you said it right there, unders for sure. And you like the over for the team total. I'm assuming you don't like anything else for them. Well, you wouldn't bet anything else. I know that, but I know you don't like them to win the division or playoffs or World Series. So we will move on, Pete.
Yeah, or you could take. I mean, this just I don't know what the plan is for this guy Max Meyer, right? But he's
Oh, okay.
he's a young pitcher. He had
You're
an
buying in.
awesome. I'm sorry.
You're buying in, huh?
Well, he had an awesome spring, right? He's 52-1 at Pinnacle right now to win Rookie of the Year. So that all is based on where he's likely to wind up, how long that they're going to keep him down, and when they're going to bring him up. But he's a guy I've got my eye out for when he comes up.
Well, yeah, ETA this year too. They have him, Sixto, and Eduardo Cabrera coming up, so it's gonna be fun to watch. And I'm gonna give you my NL Rookie of the Year pick on this next
Okay.
squad right here. Actually, the Philadelphia Phillies, 86.5. Their win total right now. Playoffs plus 100, even money evens. No playoffs minus 122. They have actually. I should tell you this, Pete. I actually bet on them already to win the NL East. I
Okay.
got them at plus 500 right now. FanDuel at plus 400. Thought it was good value. I knew that the Braves were losing Freddie Freeman, so I bet on that. Wasn't expecting them to get such a great replacement. However, I still like that high odds there, and a team that wants to win with Dave Dombrowski plus 2,500 to win the World Series. And Pete, I'll start with this. I have my NL Rookie of the Year pick on this squad. We recorded the the AL Central. My AL Rookie of the Year over there was Bobby Witt, the favorite, plus 300. Right here, we're going down the board a little bit, plus 900. Bryson Stott.
Yeah.
Yes, he's been wowing everyone this spring. It's really a question, like you said, of how quickly they bring him up. He has to beat Seiya Suzuki, who will be up the whole year for the Cubs, and I believe he is the betting favorite. And Seiya is going to be good. You know, Peter and Jimmy knows as well how I feel about my Korean baseball players.
Mm-hmm.
So I like this high odds with Stott. I think they'll need him in the infield, and I think eventually he could easily take Gene Sakura's job at some point, and make him a little more expendable. Maybe they trade him for pitching, because we all know the Phillies need bullpen help as bad as anything. So. Pete, what is your thoughts on this Philly squad? 86.5, an interesting number, higher than the Red Sox, which doesn't make sense in my head, but I'd love to know what you think.
Very a lot of unpredictable stuff here, right? Obviously, a starting rotation with a very high ceiling and a very low floor. Wheeler can be elite, but if he gets injured, it'll be questionable. And then, they add Schwarber and Castellanos. And, Castellanos got a huge multi-year deal. We've seen this. We saw this with the Mets with Lindor. A guy gets a huge contract and then has an underwhelming, season the next year. And, so people who started following baseball last year saw that last year. I have seen this going back since, the 80s when I started following baseball. I mean, it's a classic situation. You give a guy, a huge, lucrative, multi-year deal, and then you have big expectations for him, and then he comes in next year and underwhelms. And the Yankees used to do that. They used to stack their lineup with guys like that, and they'd be good, but not nearly as good as or as great as they were hoping for. But then again, maybe he'll come in and have a huge year. But it's a big question mark. Bullpen also, obviously, yet again was a negative for Philly last year. They revamped it this year. How well will that pay dividends? We'll see. We'll see as the year unfolds. Bullpens are notoriously hard to predict and notoriously inconsistent from year to year. And Philly is at least they're trying, right? They're acknowledging it's a big negative, and at least they're trying. So I'll give them that. Obviously there's a lot of positives here. A lineup that should be great. A starting rotation with a high ceiling. I'll give them that. High ceiling, low floor, bullpen that is, until further notice, probably a liability, but they're trying, so maybe it'll be an asset even, or maybe just mediocre. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'll have a much better feel of Philly as the season unfolds. As of right now, at 85.5, I guess I would take the over. At 85.5, I guess I would take the over, because the lineup, again, it should be good. The bullpen, they're trying. It's probably going to be mediocre. That would be my prediction, my guess. The starting rotation, Probably will have a few injuries here and there, but overall should be relatively healthy and relatively okay. So, considering how strong the lineup looks on paper to start the season, psychological issues aside, I would take a shot with over at 85.5, which is the current line I'm seeing right now.
Awesome. I'm glad that makes me feel a little better, Pete. Thank you. I mean, it's
And you're
a
right about Stott. Stott could be a huge, huge addition. For
yes, and I'm looking at fan graphs right now, and right now they have him in at third base over Alec Boehm, which would kind of surprise me. Kind of would figure both of them would start. So I don't honestly expect Stott to start the year with the Phillies. I'd be pretty pleasantly surprised if that does happen. I could see him doing the whole Chris Bryant thing. They wait like the 2-3 weeks they have to get him the extra year and then call him up. But we'll see. I do want him to come up and want to see what they do. And they are a win now team. They have Dave
yeah,
Dombrowski as their general manager. I've had Dave Dombrowski as my general manager. He does anything he can to win, but honestly, his one flaw is building a bullpen.
right. No, but actually, I was just going to say that. I'm looking right now at the names in the bullpen. I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. This is finally the year where Philly comes in and suddenly they got like a top 8 bullpen. It's like they tried, and finally they did it. And if that happens and the lineup is roughly close to what it's supposed to be, and all the starting pitchers don't get injured within the first 2 months, then you're going to have a really good team. And
Yeah.
80, then you're going to have really, So I definitely like the over. Yeah, I definitely like the over 85.5 for sure. As
Well,
we see right
I'm
now.
glad I talked you into that. It seemed like it took some convincing, but I'm glad.
No. It's just Philly is, it's just I'm like, okay, they brought in some huge name offensive guys with lucrative multi-year contracts. I'm like, okay. Let's not get too crazy here. We've seen this year in and year out underwhelm and underachieve and underperform and all that. But yeah, at 85.5, all things considered, I take the over right now.
Okay, cool. Let's move on here. Let's move on to the New York Metropolitans. The Mets, who a lot of news actually came out today about the Mets, so I'm glad that we waited till today to record, Pete. 91.5, their win total, tied for best in the division. Yes, to make the playoffs, minus 355. No, plus 270, which I might need to double check again because those odds might have changed. But I will look here in a second, especially with that news. Division plus 140 and World Series plus 1100. Well, let's talk about the news that I was just mentioning. News today: Jacob deGrom, the best pitcher in baseball, hurt again.
Oh, see, there you go.
Yeah,
I knew it because right before this show, I was checking the odds on Pinnacle just to make sure that they're like, up to the minute, and it was off the board. And I was like, what the hell happened? I didn't look into it. There you go.
And I look at the division odds now. Looking at them again, the Mets are now plus 220. I wrote them down at plus 140.
Wow.
Yeah, the Braves are now plus 115 favorites.
Oh my God.
It makes me feel a little better. The Phillies are plus 310, so I got them at plus 1. That makes me feel better. But yeah, no, I mean Jacob deGrom matters that much. He's the best pitcher in baseball. He has not been able to stay healthy the last 2 years or so. Some people are saying it's because he cut his hair. That's just some people are saying. But the Mets prepared for this. They prepared for this sort of thing. They've got obviously money back Steve Cohen trying to become the New York Yankees now, but in a little I guess north. I don't know my New York geography, Peter, unfortunately, so I don't know the proximity of Shea and Yankee Stadium, but I can tell you that they have a lot of depth in the starting rotation and in the pitching staff. So Max Scherzer, obviously the big signing. I have Max as a top 5 pitcher in baseball. I ranked them earlier in the year. DeGrom was my number 1. Scherzer was in the top 5 too. So that's okay. He tweaked his hamstring a little bit, but they said he's minor. It's minor tweak, so we'll see. Chris Bassett, great pitcher. Carlos Carrasco coming back from cancer, another great pitcher. Has his days in the Indian, maybe a little washed up. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. And Taijuan Walker started out great, tails off. So we'll see again. It is one of those guys, tale of two halves. So we need to see how exactly that goes. And then Tyler Megill, who knows what we'll get from him. We'll just hope that Jacob deGrom can come back quickly. That's what all Mets fans are doing right now. Pete, this team always seems to be snake bit, one way or another, whether it's they're doing or not. What's going on with the Mets? You live right there. You've got the pulse of the nation right there, Pete. So tell us what's going on.
I mean, the problem is that the Mets are from Queens, and Queens is where the losers live, and so there's no way. No, I'm kidding around. I'm kidding around. Queens over Brooklyn, baby, for sure. Yeah. Listen, so Degrom's issue is hamstring. That's what happened.
That's DeGrom is the shoulder, his, and then Max Scherzer tweaked his
Oh,
hamstring.
okay.
He said it's minor, and he's a psychopath, so he'll probably walk off it. But just something to keep an eye on. These whenever you go to the Mets, injuries seem to come. So
No, I was just kidding about Queens, by the way. Queens rules. Queens rules. Better than Brooklyn and Manhattan. Just FYI. Yeah, listen, my note here, my first note, right? First note on the Mets. The starting rotation has a ton, TON, in all caps, of health concerns, right? Obviously, DeGrom, Scherzer, Carrasco, Bassett, all of them. When Taiwan Walker, in peak form, those guys are all elite starters and shutout guys. But they've all had, well, not Bassett, but the other four have all had significant health concerns throughout their career, and when they fade pretty bad. And the Mets, yeah, they dropped $250 million. Is Lindor going to bounce back? Probably, I guess. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with his head, but he definitely had a miserable debut. Bullpen was decent last year. I guess we should assume it'll be decent here again, but still feels a little bit suspect to me. And you got a team that dumped $250 million in the offseason. That means that they're very unlikely to be less than respectable. Does that mean they're a good bet to win the division? I don't know. I don't think so. I wouldn't bet against them. Well, now, so what are the new lines? I saw 90.5 right before.
yeah, I now that I wanted to look up that the win total. It's at 88.5 now. So it's pretty clear. Obviously, the markets are how they feel about the Mets. Honestly, Pete, now that I'm sitting back and looking at it, I think I would personally rather bet the no to make the playoffs at plus
Yeah.
270 than the division. That just seems like a much more likely thing. And I'm going to double check the playoff odds again just to see. No is at plus 168. See, so you're getting kind of screwed there. Like I said, when I wrote these down yesterday, plus 270, no. That's the kind of thing. But I still would rather bet that than the division.
I mean, look, they got. So DeGrom's out. Are there any reports on how long he's out for?
No, they didn't even give him a timetable.
Okay.
He sucks.
Scherzer, an awesome guy, but he's 37, has been injury prone, right? Walker, he'll probably be great for a few starts in a row, but if he goes down, Carrasco, if he goes down, who's your starting rotation then? You got Bassett. Yeah, he's good. He's great. He's excellent. He's probably going to be the most valuable pitcher to bet on as far as the Mets are concerned, I would say. In retrospect, we'll see. Oh, if you bet Bassett every game, you made a little bit of money with him. But if they get snake bit again with injuries, which looks like, I mean, obviously, I was before we did this segment, I was going to say that's what looks like is in the tea leaves, and now it's already starting with DeGrom going down. So if you gave me a free bet right now at 88.5. I don't know, man. I would probably put it on the under. I'd probably put it on the under, even though they got a big boost to the lineup with Marte and Escobar and everyone, and Lindor probably will be better than last year. I have to assume he's going to have at least a little bit of a bounce back. Mm-hmm. And Scherzer is still elite. Bassett, great. Walker and Carrasco, how long will they go? I don't know. Will the bullpen be top 15 or better? Probably, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's not. It's just a lot of question marks for this team, considering how high the expectations once again are.
Yeah, it's so tough to say. I think this is one of the toughest divisions to separate bars. Like I said, I think I'd rather bet the no in the playoffs, but you lose that better number. So I think I'd just stay off completely with the Mets. The one player prop that I might wanted to just mention here was Lindor MVP plus 1,800.
Mm-hmm.
But if this team doesn't do anything, then it's not going to happen. So I think I'll just completely stay off the Mets. And they're just such a tough team to bet, man. They're just so tough. I like what you said, too. I think Chris Bassett is going to be I don't know if the word is underrated or undervalued, but he's one of the better pitchers on the staff, and I think we can get some good bettable odds when he's pitching.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And again, I think that probably when we look back on the year, you look at Bassett's games, we'll probably see that he was if you blind bet him every game, you blind bet the Mets every game with him starting, you wound up positive. But yeah, we'll see. Again, none of these are official picks for me, but I will definitely give a free bet lean on each one. And right now, 88.5. You gave me a free bet on that. I would throw it on the under.
I appreciate your free bet leans. Everyone likes them, Pete. All right, last team here. Last team, the World Series champions, the Atlanta Braves, came from nowhere. A great story. Alex Anthopoulos, a great general manager, did his thing. Kind of turns to shit, I guess. I'm not sure what you want to call it. Freddie Freeman, the franchise player, the guy that will probably have a statue and his number retired in Atlanta, leaves, goes to the Dodgers. The Braves move quickly. They make a trade for Matt Olson, arguably a better first baseman than Freddie Freeman, which is the crazy part. Right now, their win total 91.5. Yes to make the playoffs, -290. No, +225. The division +150, and the World Series back-to-back +1,300. I'm actually going to start off a little differently here, Pete. I'm going to start off with a player prop.
Okay.
I was listening to a podcast today, and they were talking about favorite props of the season, favorite prop bets. And DraftKings is putting out RBI numbers. And I think some of them are preposterous, quite frankly. I think if you have a DraftKings account, then I would be just unloading on these unders right now. Just everyone under, because it seems like either DraftKings knows that the balls are going to be juiced and we're going to get a lot of offense this year, or they just want everyone and their moms to try to bet overs. Because Adam Duvall, a outfitter for the Braves who, he came in there, did his thing, 112 RBIs. That's good. That's a great year. But Pete, right now, his over-under for RBIs sits at 109.5. 109.5. He's not going to get as many games as he did last year. There's just, I don't think he's going to, Acuna's going to be back. Marcelo Zuna is going to be there. He's not going to get as many at-bats. I don't think he'll get as many RBIs. And even if he does, his most RBIs came last year at 113. The only other time he had 103 in 2016, 99 in 17, and that's it. He hasn't even gotten close to 100. So I don't understand that line. I think that's insanity. I think that's honestly my favorite bet of this division. I'm going to make that an official play for me. Adam Duvall under 109.5 RBIs, -110 at DraftKings right now. Just insanity, Pete. What do you think of this Brave squad? I mean, I'm still baffled at the props right now.
Yeah. First of all, I agree with you, and it could be that someone has inside information that the balls are going to be juiced. More likely, it's just that a site like DraftKings is going to shade things a little bit towards the overs because they know that's where most of their bets are going to come in. I agree with you that on paper it seems a little bit absurd. Atlanta is I don't love betting on defending champions in any sport, but Atlanta does seem dedicated to repeating this year. They already had a solid pen. Then they add Kenley Jansen. That's a huge addition. And again, Olson, psychological issues aside, on paper is arguably an upgrade, a tiny but nevertheless legit upgrade from Freeman. So that's another huge addition from Atlanta. Soroka coming back healthy. That's a big addition. Fried should be good. Ian Anderson. So it looks like this is a team that has some experienced, grizzled veterans to go along with some healthy young players, and it's a deep team. And then they add a Hall of Fame closer in Jansen. So at 91.5, I'll free play lean. I'll go with over definitely. Looks like a strong team. Again, of course, injuries can change anything. but this is a team, to my eye, that is on paper at least as good as last year, and I don't see why they would not be a great bet to get into the mid 90s in terms of wins. So yeah.
Okay, I like that. I would lean over as well. A hard bet. I would also mention Ronald Acuna MVP,
Yeah.
the Venezuelan Prince, plus 950. Not the best odds, but it's still Ronald Acuna, one of the better players in baseball. When healthy, I think he's a top 3 player in baseball. So I
Sure.
think that's good value. And I wanted to I wanted to mention this one too, Pete. This is not Braves related, but this is our RBI related. Kind of wrap this up, I guess, and then we'll go into our recap and see what we have. Or I guess what I have. Bryce Harper, MVP last year. Pete, you have you heard of him? You've heard of him.
Yes.
97.5. His RBI total 97.5. That also doesn't make sense to me. He's a lot more bats coming into that lineup to help him out.
Mhm. Right.
And again, Pete, he won MVP last year. How many RBIs he had last year? 84. That makes no sense. He's had a little bit better track record, a 19 at 114, 18 at 100, 15 at 99 when he won the MVP the first time. But it's close numbers. I'll take the under on Bryce Harper too, 97.5 RBIs. I just don't know what DraftKings doing with these RBIs numbers. I'm a little worried that I might be just eating the cheese here. There's
Wait,
another
what?
one. I'm worried that I'm eating the cheese here, Pete. That I don't. These overs are just like these numbers are inflated for some reason. I'm just gonna keep taking these unders. I'm
Wait,
worried.
Bryce Harper is what? Is 90 what? 97 and a half?
97.5. Yeah.
What you like the under on that? You love the under on that one? Why? I don't understand why.
Well, I mean, Pete, he had a MVP year last year. He was great. Some people would say that your MVP years are your peak, and he wasn't even close to that. 84 last year.
Yeah,
And
but the
there will
Phillies.
be more people to help.
I mean, the Phillies have upgraded their offense now, so that can have a synergistic effect. I'm not saying I like the over here, but I'm definitely not sure why you're loving the under so much. I mean, if the Phillies really do have a juggernaut of an offense, which at start out the season it looks like they're going to have, then there's going to be a synergistic effect, and there's going to be runs all around. You know what I mean?
My thing would be just a separate, spread the wealth, Pete. They didn't have as much offense last year. Now they have Kyle Schwarber to bring in the runs and Nick Castellanos to bring in the runs. And again, MVP year last year, Bryce Harper wasn't known, I should say, for staying healthy for a little bit. He
Right.
had an injury tag for a little bit on him too, and he has to have apparently another MVP year to get up there to the 97s. So I want to see it. Like I said, Pete, I might be eating the cheese here, but I would think it'll be interesting. We're going to talk AL West futures later, Pete. That's a little tease for everyone too, but I'll tell you right now, Eugenio Suarez, 98.5. I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't. And it's going to be interesting, but I haven't done my Western research yet, so I'm not going to get too deep into that right now. But you know what I am going to get deep into, Pete?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk these recaps right now. We're going to go over the bets. We're going to go through what we have here, what I have, I should say. Right now, not many bets here. I do have officially in Phillies to win the division at plus 500. Right now, you can get that at plus 310. So I still like it at those odds. I don't love it as much, obviously, but I'll ride with the Phillies at plus 500. Bryson Stott, plus 900 to win NL Rookie of the Year. I think he'll have a nice year and come out here. And then I will, in fact, make Ronald Acuna MVP of the National League official at plus 950. Pete, I hit last year on the AL Rookie of the Year, or AL MVP.
Mm-hmm.
My love with Shohei Ohtani. So I think hopefully we can bag another one here, get the Prince who was promised back off the ACL injury. Braves are a good squad. They get all that momentum, and we'll see how it goes.
I will say. So you're seeing 950. Where are you seeing that?
950. It was on FanDuel. Let me double
Okay,
check.
those are good odds. At Pinnacle, it's plus 700. So very nice.
Wow.
Very nice.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Now it's plus 900. So
Where at Pinnacle?
Yeah, at FanDuel.
Okay, yeah. Pinnacle, it's about 7-1. So yeah, good eye there, Jose Bouquett.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You know me, Loshak. I'm just looking through all these odds all day. Peter, do you have anything? Any leans or anything you wanted to shout out before we head out of here?
No, not really. I mean, these are all. I'm not going to be betting these, so I don't like to give official plays in these videos that aren't plays that I haven't actually bet.
Of
But
course, you can't.
yeah, if you want to track my leans, sure, go ahead. My leans would be Mets under 88.5, Atlanta over 91.5, Philly over 85.5, Miami, I guess over 76.5. Although that is a lot of wins. I more expect them just to be profitable in spots as opposed to actually playing 500 ball by the end of the year. But we'll go with over 76.5, and then that's under 71.5.
Awesome. Well, Pete, thank you very much for joining me. I will talk to you on Tuesday, even though this episode is probably going to come out after the AL West episode. So I can't wait for that. It's going to be fun. Me and you, the Peter Loshak show coming on Tuesday. It's going to be fun. I can't wait. Pete, till then, I will talk to you next time. Thank you for talking baseball with me.
Thank you for inviting me, Jose Bouquett, and shout out to the entire Pub Sports Radio crew.
Yes, you're the first name on my list, Pete. You're always the first call. I appreciate it. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.